This is the story of Margaret and Ellen. In early 16th century Scotland, the king was James IV, and in 1507, William Dunbar, the poet to the king's royal court, wrote a poem called Anne Black Moor. When she is clothed in rich attire, she gleams as bright as a tar barrel. When she was born, the sun suffered an eclipse. The night be glad to fight for her sake, my lady with the huge lips. Dunbar was recounting a tournament, a popular activity for royal courts at the time. And although funny poems were also popular, the racial tones of this poem are obvious. Dunbar was writing about a black woman. So, who was this lady with the huge lips that skin gleamed as bright as a tar barrel? It's very likely this woman was Ellen Moore. During the tournament, Ellen's role was the Black Queen of Beauty. She was the prize. The winner of the tournament received an embrace and a kiss from Ellen. Ellen Moore, sometimes referred to as Black Ellen and often mentioned alongside Margaret Moore. Together, the two women were known as the Moorish Lassies. In 1504, Margaret and Ellen, who were believed to be from North Africa, arrived in Leith. Their birth names were never recorded and they were quickly baptised. Margaret, after Queen Margaret, and Ellen, after Eleanor Pole, the Queen's principal lady in waiting. Ellen and Margaret joined the Edinburgh Castle household of Lady Margaret Tudor, who was King James IV's illegitimate daughter. But what was this young lady doing with these two young girls as her ladies in waiting? Well, the eroticisation and fetishisation of black women isn't something we only see today. In the 16th century, it was fashionable to have an African girl as an attendant in your home. The addition of Margaret and Ellen to the royal household was a sign of status for all in the Stuart royal family. But this sign of status came at a human cost. On their arrival, Ellen and Margaret were about 10 years old. It's unclear exactly how they ended up in Scotland, but it was likely they were found aboard a foreign ship. During this time, Scotland was not involved in the enslaving of people, but privateering was common. Scottish sailors had licence to raid foreign ships. Other countries, like Portugal, were involved in the enslaving of people, and so it's likely Scottish sailors found Margaret and Ellen aboard a foreign ship and brought them back to Scotland. Slavery was not recognised by Scottish law, so the girls weren't enslaved and received wages. But still, that's not compensation from being removed from your home, your family, your culture. So in 1504, Margaret and Ellen joined Lady Margaret Tudor's household. The girls were treated relatively well. They learnt to horse ride, and in that same year, they accompanied Lady Margaret on a royal Scottish tour of the borders. In 1510, Lady Margaret Tudor was married to Lord Gordon, and the two spent lots of time together at Linlithgow with Margaret alongside them. Ellen stayed in Edinburgh and joined the royal household there. It's likely she was the black maiden mentioned in 1512 as an attendant to the Queen. In 1513, the two were reunited in records again, receiving 10 gold coins as a present for the new year. On St Margaret's Day in 1513, a black Margaret was gifted a new gown. Also, records show that around a similar time, a Margaret Preston was also gifted a new gown. Also, in November 1512, a Margaret Preston accompanied Lady Margaret on a ride. So perhaps it's not two Margarets, but one, and our Margaret married a Scotsman. Ellen and Margaret became respected members of the court and Scottish history, but William Dunbar's poem shows us that not everybody would have treated them equally and with respect. And let's not forget, at one point, it's likely these two girls were enslaved.